U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago. It's game 2 of a 3-game series between the Red Sox and the White Sox. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, as always, joined by Jerry Remy. Welcome to Red Sox baseball. Well, Jackie Bradley Jr. is one of the game's best center fielders. There's no doubt about that. In fact, he could be a Gold Glover. Offense has been the question, and lately he's changed that.
He really has. You know, we saw Rusney Castillo do it last night, and we've seen Jackie Bradley Jr. do it for many, many nights. And when you look at the numbers for Bradley recently, they've been incredible. 11 games of .442 batting average, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs, and this is remarkable. 11 of his last 12 hits have gone for extra bases. That's incredible for Jackie Bradley Jr. So he just continues to improve. And as we get in the broadcast, we're going to show you some of the minor adjustments he made in his swing to make him swing the bat better.
Well, Jackie Bradley Jr. is back in the lineup tonight. He'll be in right field. Where is Hanley Ramirez going? We may talk a little bit about that when we come back here to Chicago. Here in Austin will have that. Back in Chicago after this. Audi A3 today. Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. Toyota's website for deals by Toyota.com. Southern New Hampshire University. See yourself succeed at snhu.edu. Your local New England Ford dealers. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. We welcome you back to U.S. Cellular Field for the middle game of the 3-game series between the Red Sox and the White Sox. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo. When the season started, the Red Sox had high hopes for Hanley Ramirez in left field. That transition has not gone as smoothly as they would have liked. The question, Garrett Austin, is where may he play in the future?
That's right, Don. Hanley Ramirez met with reporters today, and he said it doesn't matter where he plays, he just wants to win. Now, Ramirez was at first base today, and he said he was working on some footwork, and it will take some adjustments, but maybe we'll see him at first before the end of the season. Here's what interim manager Torey Lovullo had to say about how the idea of Ramirez at first base came up.
I think, it was a collective conversation between, a lot of people, Dave, John, myself, Butter. We just thought it was something that was a possibility for down the road. Nothing is imminent. We just wanted to see how it looked. And we sat down with Hanley, and he bought in. And the best part about that situation is Hanley said he'll do whatever it takes for this ball club. And that made a lot of sense to us.
Wade Miley on the mound tonight for the Red Sox, 10-9 with a 4.41 earned run average, his 26th start of the year. We're back with the first pitch from Chicago right after this. Infinity. Visit your local Boston area Infinity retailer for a test drive today. Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. Thank you, New England, for 60 great years. And by the Kia Sorrento. We welcome you back to U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago. The Red Sox and White Sox playing the middle game of a 3-game series. And the Red Sox tonight will have to deal with Jose Quintana, who's on the mound tonight for Chicago. We check out the wild card scenario right now. The Blue Jays and Yankees atop at 4.5 games, and the Rangers right now with the Angels a game and a half back, Twins a game and a half back, and these White Sox kind of on the outside looking in with all the teams in between. The White Sox are 6 games out of the mix right now in what's certainly been a disappointing season for Robin Ventura.
You know, you look at the last part of this season, Don, and it's really amazing how close some of these teams are to the wild card position, and a lot of teams that really don't have a great record are there. And it's going to be an exciting, last month of the season for many, many teams shooting for that final wild card spot.
And you're talking about the right to play one game, and as you know, anything can happen in one game.
I know that's the part that bugs me a little bit. The one game, it's what that is. I've been in one game situations like that before, and it didn't work out well.
Yes, you have. Well, the Red Sox tonight in the midst of a road trip that'll take them from Chicago to New York to take on the Mets. Vittorio Lovello, the acting manager right now, interim manager for the Red Sox at the helm, and certainly he's had a lot thrown at him here in the early going as manager of the Red Sox. Now the White Sox take the field tonight. And as they do, let's check out the Red Sox starting lineup. It's brought to you by your Eastern Hyundai dealers. Now Mookie Betts leading it off in center field with Pablo Sandoval at third base batting second. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop with David Ortiz, the DH, in the cleanup spot. Travis Shaw at first base with Hanley Ramirez in left field. Ryan Hannigan does the catching at bat seventh with Jackie Bradley Jr. in right batting eighth. And Josh Rutledge at second base rounds out the starting 9. The White Sox starting pitcher presented by New England Nissan dealers, Jose Quintana. In his 26th start of the year, comes in at 7-10. A good ERA, though, 3.60. 134 strikeouts and 34 walks, and opponents hitting at 281 against Quintana. Last time out was a victory against Los Angeles. 6 innings, giving up 2 runs. He walked 2 and struck out 3.
The White Sox defense is brought to you by DraftKings. They are 9th in the American League with 73 errors on the season. Gordon Beckham will be at third base. Alexi Ramirez, the shortstop. Carlos Sanchez at second. And Jose Abreu, the first baseman. Left to right, Melky Cabrera, Adam Eaton, and Trace Thompson. And Giovanni Soto doing the catching for Quintana.
And the umpiring crew. Behind the plate is Mark Reppinger with Bill Miller at first base. He's the crew chief. Ben May at second base, and Doug Eddings is the umpire at third. Where available, this telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your television remote. Enjoy the game.
Buenas noches, amigos.
Cloud covered as we get started here tonight. Comfortable conditions. It's only 67 degrees as we get the ball game started. Breeze from left to right at 7 miles per hour. The forecast is more of the same what we have right now on the cloudy side, and lights are on here in Chicago to start this game tonight. Now here comes Mookie Betts to get it started tonight. 271 with 11 home runs and 58 runs batted in. And Betts atop the Red Sox order again. Mookie 1 for 4 in the ballgame last night with a walk. He just had a lengthy hitting streak come to an end on Sunday. An 8-game hitting streak concluded on Sunday. And now ready to deal with Jose Quintana. And at third is Gordon Beckham, in case he entertains any thoughts of bunting. And the first pitch of the ball game is in there for strike 1, and we are underway.
Quintana's done very well against the Red Sox. 2-0 in his career with a 1.63 ERA against Boston.
That's will take strike 2, and Quintana jumping ahead.
He's also a strike thrower. Doesn't walk very many. Only 34 walks on the season so far this season. There's the breakdown in his pitch arsenal.
That's thought about it, but takes, and it's 1-2. Victory last time out, as we mentioned, for Quintana against the Angels. Sandoval, who's really settled into that 2 spot in the order, waits on deck. 26-year-old left-hander on the mound tonight for the White Sox. That's with a late swing. Strikes out at a 94-mile-an-hour fastball for out number one.
Good job right there by Quintana keeping the fastball away from Betts. That's a pitch that Betts had a lot of trouble with early in the season. Has adjusted to that pitch, but not this time. Perfect on the outside part of the plate. So 3 of the 4 pitches away from Mookie Betts to start off this game.
Now one down here in the first inning. It brings up Pablo Sandoval at 259 with 10 homers and 40 runs batted in. Fouls it back to our left for strike one. 7-game hitting streak coming in for Sandoval at 281. Sits safely in 9 of the last 10. Lead on that, and it's 0-2. Fastball's got a little late life tonight.
Yeah, he's got that slow, deliberate windup, and then it pops out of the hand pretty good. And you mentioned the late life on the fastball. A good example right there by Sandoval.
Sandoval not chasing that in the dirt outside.
Pablo on a 7-game hitting streak now. He is 0 for 4 in his career off Quintana.
It's now 6 straight games that he's batted second in the order for the Red Sox, after only doing so 3 times in his entire career prior to that. Just off the outside edge.
That's a pitch you usually see Sandoval swing at. That ball that's maybe 3 or 4 inches off the outside part of the plate and somehow make contact on it. That time he takes it.
On the ground softly by the mound. Sanchez races in, and the throw in time to get Pablo.
Sanchez pretty sure of himself on that. He went to the bare hand, and actually that ball was rolling pretty at a good firm pace when it got to him. I thought he was going to go to the glove. He had plenty of time to do that, but no. He takes the chance and goes with the bare hand to make the play to first base. A little bit of a risky play, but he gets it done.
So 2 down here in the first inning brings up Xander Bogaerts. .313 with 4 homers and 60 runs batted in for Xander. Right now 6th in the American League in batting average to start the night. Tonight's key matchup is brought to you by Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. Entering tonight, Bogaerts against left-handed pitching at .382, and that leads Major League Baseball. In there for a strike at the bottom of the zone. The 6-gamer coming in, hitting at .320 during that time, leaving all Major League shortstops in average at .313. And a one-hopper out to Sanchez at second base. Takes care of Bogaerts, and the Red Sox are down in order. White Sox are coming up from Chicago. Sox go in order in the first inning. White Sox coming up here in the bottom of the first, and Adam Eaton leading it off and taking strike one from Wade Miley. Red Sox starting pitcher presented by your New England Audi dealers. 26th start of the year for Miley, 10-9, a 4.41 ERA. As Adam Eaton tries to frame it. Thursday against the Royals, a victory for Wade Miley. 7 1/3, 6 hits and a run. He didn't walk anybody and struck out 6 along the way. Ball and a strike to Eaton. That time able to frame it was Hannigan.
Yeah, right now Miley looking for a little revenge against the White Sox. He's pitched one game against them this season, 0-1. Only went 5 2/3 inning, giving up 10 hits and 7 earned runs. So looking to change that tonight against Chicago.
On the ground right side, Rutledge headed in that direction. Flips it to first for out number 1. Let's check out the White Sox lineup, brought to you by New England Chevy dealers. Adam Eaton, we just saw the center fielder with Melky Cabrera in left. Jose Abreu at first base with Abisael Garcia, the DH. Trace Thompson is in right field. Alexei Ramirez at shortstop. Giovanni Soto does the catching. Carlos Sanchez at second base bats 8th, and Gordon Beckham at third base bats 9th. With one out, here is Melky Cabrera. .269, 8 homers and 60 runs batted in. He was red hot when the White Sox came to Fenway. He has cooled off since. Been struggling lately. 0 for his last 12 and just 6 for his last 48. Hitting at 125. Down 1-2.
One of the good things about Miley last time out in his last start against Kansas City, he was down in the strike zone just about all day long, and hoping to do the same here tonight. All with all his pitches, his fastball, his changeup, and his breaking ball. That last pitch down to Melky Cabrera. .58% fastballs. The curveball 23% and a changeup at 19 for Miley.
Reaches out and pokes that foul down the right field line, out of play. One-two pitch. Close pitch, but called a ball. Miley thought he had him.
If that's an indication right there, it might be a little bit of a tight strike zone tonight, because that pitch very close. It is a little bit inside, but sometimes that goes in the pitcher's direction.
Mookie Betts, center fielder, over towards right center as Cabrera grounds one foul outside of third. White Sox have not been hitting many home runs. They've hit just 13 homers in the last 15 games. This one fouled off to the right, out of play. Robin Ventura's club coming in 58 and 65 on the year, 17.5 games back of the Royals, who ran away with the American League Central. There's a ground ball at Bogarts for the second out of this bottom of the first inning.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. They are 13th in the American League with 77 errors on the season. Pablo Sandoval at third base, and Bogarts, the shortstop. Josh Rutledge at second, and Travis Shaw, the first baseman. Left to right, Hanley Ramirez, Mookie Betts, and Jackie Bradley Jr., and Brian Hannigan doing the catching for Wade Miley.
So 2 down here in the first inning brings up Jose Abreu. Former Rookie of the Year takes strike one. Nearing 300 at 295 with 24 homers and 77 runs batted in.
That's a good pitch right there, too, by Miley. But again, not getting the call. That ball looked like it might have had the bottom of the strike zone. And that's exactly where he wants to be effective.
And again, trying to coach him through it. And again, another close pitch.
This one a little bit more inside, but the second time Miley has not got that pitch, very similar to the one on Melky Cabrera, but it is a ball.
Not impressed with Mark Rippinger's strike zone so far. Abreu with a pretty good rip there.
Yeah, he got a nice fastball right down the middle that time from Miley and did have a very good swing on it.
Last 7 games hitting at .359, and look at that hack.
Yeah, they wanted to go inside. The ball stayed middle. And fortunately fouled back by Abreu.
In the air to left, Hanley on the move. Will get there to make the catch below the cap high and to end the first inning. Done with 1 without a score from Chicago. Honoring the 75 season in their 126th game, the Red Sox beat the White Sox 2-1. Roger Maret threw a complete game and got the win for Boston despite walking 9 batters. But Evans also had a home run, his 12th of the year at that time, as we play along here to the second inning. And David Ortiz leading it off here against Jose Quintana. Red Sox went down in order in the first inning. Yeah, David taking a hack at the first pitch. 262, 26 home runs, 76 RBIs on the year for Big Papi. Ortiz, Shaw, and Ramirez featured here in the second inning. White Sox in the full shift here on Big Papi. Since the All-Star break, David has hit at .333. And an 11-game hitting streak come to an end as he gets jammed here and fouls it off to the left out of play. Well, Tuesday, September 8th is Red Sox hat giveaway night presented by Toyo Tires. All fans in attendance will receive a special 1975 season hat. Visit redsox.com/promos for tickets. Red Sox Nation here, the only visit to Chicago of the year for Boston. David slaps another one foul. Jerry, we talked about it last night. The way you see his foot, it looks like he's looking to launch all the time.
Quite a few of the swings, you can see that front foot pointing down out toward right field. Let's see if he does it on this swing here, and that tells me he's trying to pull to get those home runs. So with a left-hander out there too, there's always a little bit of give from left-handed hitters, and sometimes you do that. But he has been doing it more consistently than we've seen in a while, and I think the reason for that is he's trying to launch.
Would like to get that 500 out of the way this year.
I think you're right, Don.
In the air to right field, struck pretty well. Back goes Thompson. He'll have room back onto the track to make the catch. David gives it a ride, but he's out number 1 of the second inning.
Well, he almost launched that one, but not quite enough as Trace Thompson goes back to the warning track to make the play on David Ortiz. It's a breaking ball that's just to the outside part of the plate. Now, if that ball is just inside about 3 inches, it's a home run. But he caught it toward the end of the bat a little bit, and that's the reason it stayed in the ballpark, as you can see right there.
1 out for Travis Shaw. It takes a look at strike 1. Shaw at first base, batting 5th again tonight. 329, 6 homers, and 13 runs batted in. Making the best of his opportunity to play on a daily basis. Did go 0 for 5 in the ball game last night. High chopper right side to Sanchez. 2 down. We'll see Dennis Leary, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Wright, and more at the 21st Annual Comics Come Home at the TD Garden on Saturday, November 7th. Proceeds benefit the Cam Neely Foundation for cancer care. For tickets, visit Ticketmaster.com. 2 down in the second inning, and it'll bring up Hanley Ramirez. 254, 19 homers, and 53 runs batted in for Hanley. Aggressive are the Red Sox tonight against Quintana for the most part.
Well, the reason is, Don, he doesn't walk many people at all. He's around the strike zone. We've seen that in the past. I mean, he does not fall behind very often. He does not walk many people. And when you face a guy like that, you know you're going to get a first pitch strike most of the time. So sometimes it pays off to be aggressive.
We talked about it off the top tonight. Hanley Ramirez, the first signs of this we have seen yet. And some work at first base with Brian Butterfield, David Ortiz out there as well helping.
Yeah, this is just the very beginning of what looks like a move from left field to first base for Hanley Ramirez. At least a try at first base. Today was the first day that Butterfield was actually out there working with him. And I asked Brian Butterfield about, what they were going through. He said just the very, very basics. He says a very slow process. So, I'm sure by the time the season's over, we probably will see Hanley over there at first base. See what he looks like.
Let me ask you, how hard of an adjustment is that going to be?
That's a great question. It's hard moving to any position, but I've always felt that, Hanley's been an infielder his whole career, whether it be shortstop or third base. Now, I realize he's moving to the other side, but I think that adjustment is easier than moving to the outfield. People say, well, anybody can go play the outfield. No, that's not the case. It's not that easy. But I think because he was an infielder for all those years, I think the transition could be a positive one for Hanley Ramirez.
2-2 pitch. And Hanley strikes out. Second K for Quintana. We're through an inning and a half from Chicago without a score. Thursday night catch the Pawtucket Red Sox as they visit the Buffalo Bisons. It's live at 7 p.m. and it's right here on NESN. On to the bottom of the second inning from Chicago. Wade Miley back on the mound. Had a 1-2-3 first inning. Avisail Garcia, Trace Thompson, and Alexei Ramirez to bat in the inning. Look back over the course of the year, Jared. Really, Wade Miley has been the most consistent Red Sox pitcher.
I'd agree with you, Don. You know, I think that most consistent all season has been Miley. He's been a guy that's given him quality innings, and a guy that I think, when you look toward next season, is probably going to have a place on this pitching staff, probably toward the back end. But I think that of all the Red Sox pitchers this year, and that's not including Rodriguez, who was called up late. Miley has been obviously the most consistent.
There's a fly ball out to center field. Betts tracking it as he goes over to make that catch. Kind of changed direction. Wind blowing from left to right, and it looks like the ball got moved in that direction as Betts gets back there to make the grab.
Yeah, they call it the Windy City, and it's been that the last couple of nights. And sometimes it was very difficult, especially in the old ballpark, because the wind would swirl. Here it's pretty much the same way. And you can see Mookie Betts making that hard left. To get there and make the play on that fly ball.
And one down here in the second inning brings up Trace Thompson. First appearance of the series for Thompson, who takes strike one. Made a couple starts in center, a couple right and one in left, and sends this towards the gap in right center field. That ball is back and is going to head to the track on the wall. Thompson can run, and he's thinking three. Throw headed in that direction, and he will be safe at third base with a triple. Well, Pablo wants him to challenge it. He thinks he got him. Torrey's on the top step of the dugout. We'll see if indeed they will challenge it.
Yeah, from up here it looked like he was safe, but obviously Sandoval is much closer to the play than we are. A change up that time that stayed upstairs. Not a good pitch by Miley, and this ball taken into the gap, and a very good speed shown by Thompson on this as he goes to third base. There's the relay throw, and does he get him? I don't think so.
They are going to check it. Is he off the bag? It looks like his foot. It looks like Sandoval's foot is underneath him.
I agree. It looked like Sandoval's foot was underneath him, and maybe he went right on top of Sandoval, and Sandoval had the tag on him. So this will be an interesting challenge.
Well, I guess. Okay.
Is there air between him and Thompson in the bag?
Is there any part of his body on the bag for a while there?
He's got the hand on there, I think.
Not anymore.
But there's nothing there, right?
Nothing.
There's air.
He's out.
So you're out.
I think he's out.
Yeah, we agree on this one.
Yeah, I'm leaning on out.
You know something, we might be right.
For a change.
Yeah, for a big change.
I mean, there's no other part of his body.
Right there. There's air. There's air. There's air. Right there.
Right there. Tag him again.
Just for the heck of it.
Yeah, just to be sure. He does.
Air.
Out.
But did he call timeout? That's the other question.
Oh, that's what he's doing right there, too.
He's trying to call timeout, and I don't know if the umpire gave him timeout right away.
That we have no way of knowing, because it would be a verbal thing.
So right now
we're changing our mind again quickly.
I'm 50-50 on this one.
Back to 50-50 quickly. Oh, it's amazing how quickly we can jump off. Yeah. Solid.
You can do that in this job.
Still nothing touching.
I'll say this: Sandoval was right on top of it, but he's immediately told them to make the challenge. So
tagged him a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So it is taking a little while here. Right now, the White Sox have got a triple from Thompson, but it is being challenged. Bill Miller, the crew chief. Another look here.
All right, no tag yet. Tag now. Air. Is there air?
Lots of air.
Now, the only other question I have, did he call timeout? Was he given timeout before, the air came into play?
If that happens, we're totally off the hook. There's no way we can know that.
We wouldn't know that.
Right. So right now, we're solid.
I'm going to say he's out.
I'm going without.
I'm going to stay with it. Let's see what the umpire does.
He calls him safe.
Safe.
Now he's out. No timeout. Now there's timeout.
Now there's
that's
time.
halfway the third tag.
That's key right there.
Yeah. Certainly a big play here, either a triple or an out. Either way, it is the first hit of the game for the White Sox. Miley had retired the first 4 batters that he faced in the game before Thompson took him to the gap in right center. This is one of the longer reviews we've had. Definitely safe in the beginning.
Yeah, the left hand was there. The right hand got to the shoe of Sandoval, but I think the left hand was on the bag. But then I think he came off the bag. I can't even stand to look at it anymore. I want a decision, and I want it now.
All right, we got one, Jerry.
Okay.
They're moving around. Let's go. Bounce around.
Oh, wow. Kidding me. Come on, get with it. Wow.
How about that?
All right, we're wrong.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe he got timeout. So that is the first hit, and it's a triple for Thompson with 1 out here in the second inning. Now Alexei Ramirez will try to bring that run in. First triple of Thompson's career. Took him a little while to get it, as it turned out. Lengthy review, but they call it a triple. Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop, batting out of the 6th spot for the White Sox. And he'll take ball 1, another close pitch.
Stage of the game, Red Sox playing the infield back with 1 out, with the exception of Travis Short at first base, who's a couple of steps behind the bag, and Sandoval even with the bag. I would guess on a ground ball at third, the runner would have to hold, or back to the pitcher.
25th pitch from Miley, and it's in there for a strike. 1-1. Alexei Ramirez sitting safely in 21 of his last 26 games. Seeing the average move from 212 to 240, where it is currently at to begin tonight, but kind of a down year for Ramirez. On the ground to third base, Sandoval's coming home, and they've got him hung up between third and home. And I'm going to run him back, and Sandoval will tag him. That worked out well for the Red Sox.
Yeah,
like he was going on contact.
I don't get that at all from the White Sox. I mean, when you look at the defensive setup for the Red Sox, there's 2 places you don't go, and that's a ball to third base and a ball back to the pitcher. It's not like you're working to the bottom of the lineup here. And Red Sox easily have Thompson in that rundown, so he's eventually out anyway, Don. So we can say we were right. He's out.
Kind of, sort of. The other thing you want to do in that situation on the rundown is make sure that Ramirez gets to second base. He didn't even do that.
No,
he got to first.
Exactly. Red Sox executed pretty well.
And almost get him at first base on the pickoff bid by Miley.
Stop making 3 or 4 throws in a rundown. You're asking for trouble. The Red Sox executed that pretty well and left Ramirez at first base.
Ramirez gains his lead with Shaw holding him on.
That's that first pickoff move of the night by Miley, and you could see Alexei Ramirez kind of freeze out there for a little while, but he didn't have that big a lead and dives back.
Line to center field and a base hit. Giovanni Soto taking second base as Ramirez. Boy, that play looms large now as Thompson retired for the second out.
It sure does. And 2 things about it. First of all, sending the runner, second of all, holding Ramirez at first base so he's not in scoring position for that base hit. So they still have not got on the scoreboard.
Two on, 2 down, and Carlos Sanchez coming up, second baseman, batting out of the number 8 spot for the White Sox. And a swing and a miss for strike 1. Rookie Carlos Sanchez hitting at .235, 3 homers and 24 runs batted in. 3 home runs have come this month. Only hitting at .172 against lefties. And in there tonight against Miley. This one grounded down the third baseline, and it's going to be a foul ball. Not by much.
Sandoval stretching out, trying to play first base there as he kind of stretched out for the ground ball and kept contact with the third base bag. As the contact, the catch, just in case it was in fair territory, they would have had the BOS out to end the inning.
So first and second here, 2 down in the second inning. And Sanchez down in the count 0-2. Good with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, up over 300 at 308. On the ground, pass Miley into center and by the dive of Rutledge. Ramirez coming around, throw to the plate's going to be cut off. Run will score. And now they got in the rundown here. Soto, who will be tagged out by Sandoval. Run comes in for Chicago, and the White Sox take a 1-0 lead through 2 innings. Became the first player to drive in all the Red Sox runs in a game in which the team scored at least 5 runs since David Ortiz did it on September 12th all the way back in 2007 in a 5-4 win over the Rays. Twisted Tea is the hard iced tea. It tastes like real iced tea. Be a little twisted.
LeMay set to bring in a run to end the inning. The Red Sox cut the ball off and get the final out of the inning. Mookie Betts with a strong throw, but I don't think they want to get that runner at home, and they've got the third out of the inning, so Shaw cuts it off. A little bit of a problem with the first relay throw, but they do get the out and the 1 run for the White Sox.
So it's on to the third, and Ryan Hannigan leading it off and taking strike 1. .255 average for Hannigan coming in with 2 homers and 12 runs batted in. On the ground off the side of the mound, it kicks out to Sanchez. Well, there's 1 out here in the 3rd inning. The Red Sox season ticket plans will soon be available for the 2016 season. For information about becoming a Red Sox season ticket holder, call 617-226-6888 or visit redsox.com/season tickets today. One out for Jackie Bradley Jr. Off balance there.
We studied some film today. I was talking with Chili Davis about Jackie Bradley Jr., the Red Sox hitting coach, of course, and we're able to pinpoint at least one of the things he has done to change his swing. And since he's changed, obviously his swing has been much better, and it's something Chili started to talk to him about during spring training. And we'll show you side-by-side video of. I think the focus is his front leg, and if you watch it now, it comes up and goes down. Now you'll see before on the left-hand side what he would do. He would kick the foot up and the leg up, right there, step. And then it was late. He was seen to be late on everything. He had a little step first. Now it's just pick it up and put it down. He's eliminated that very small step. Now I know it's not a major thing, but it is a major thing when you swing in the bat. Just tinkering a little bit with stuff like that can make a difference.
Two hopper down to first base. Abreu's got it, and he tags the bag. Yeah, it's one less step, I would think. I mean, it is kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal. And, you know, guys now, today, so much the bottom half is so important. Now, watch on the left how first he kind of steps. He brings his foot up. He goes into a step and then back down for the swing. And your head's moving while you're doing that. Now it's just basically pick it up and put it down. And your head, we've noticed much better head discipline from Jackie Bradley recently than we did earlier. And I think that's one of the reasons he's been able to get to some of those pitches outside and drive them to the opposite field. So very small thing, but certainly something worth looking at and something worth showing you that there has been an adjustment, you know, one of the adjustments in his swing.
It's probably one of those things he probably didn't even realize perhaps was going on too.
Yeah, you get in such habits sometimes, and you know, sometimes it just takes a guy to say, you know, let's take a look at this and let's see if we can do a little work. And all of a sudden it clicks. You know, it clicks in for you. So sometimes it doesn't take much. And Chili, you saw that in spring training. That's when they started to work on it, and it's got better and better as the year has gone on.
Well, the results have certainly gotten better and better as the year has gone on. There's Josh Rutledge batting here. Batting out of the 9 spot. Red Sox got him from the Angels, of course, for Shane Victorino. Playing primarily at second base in his time in the Red Sox order, but play all over the infield. On the ground and through into right field, a base hit, kind of fought that off, and he's the first base runner for Boston of the night.
And when called upon, he's done a nice job for the Red Sox offensively. 5 straight games now he's hit in as he takes that ball with 2 outs to the opposite field on the ground. Good hit on him a little bit, but still able to muscle the ball to the right side for the base hit. Big hole over there between first and second.
So 2 down, Rutledge at first base. Back up to the top of the order for Mookie Betts. Struck out swinging in the first inning. One of 2 Ks for Quintana in the game, who it's a quick check on Rutledge at first base. 21 out of 24 in stolen bases for Josh Rutledge. Line down the left field line towards the wall, and that's going to one-hop it. Cabrera over to play it as Rutledge going to try and score all the way from first base. Throw to the plate is off the mark, and he scores. Now the ball gets away, and trying to score is Betts, and he'll get in with nobody covering. Both the catcher and pitcher going after the ball, and coming all the way around is Mookie Betts. So an errant throw will be mixed in there. But the Red Sox were able to grab 2 runs on the play.
Oh, it's nice to have speed, isn't it? Now, of course, you and I, Don, wouldn't know that, but Mookie Betts, first of all, cleans out an inside pitch, and that's his pitch right there. Now the relay from Ramirez is going to go way by the catcher, and the pitch is backing up, which he's supposed to be doing, so there's nobody at home plate. Mookie Betts just jogging in a second. Now he turns it on to go to third, and he's looking ahead. He sees the ball go by, and he continues on home.
So back to the mound, Quintana able to field it and throws to first base. It's a double, error charged on the throw, but the Red Sox get 2 runs and take a 2-1 lead. 2-1. Red Sox have grabbed the lead here in the third inning as Miley returns to the hill now with a lead, and Gordon Beckham with a foul at the dish for strike one. Mookie Betts making it happen. And all the way around, ends up being a double. Error was charged on the throw by Alexei Ramirez. It allows him to score. Did get an RBI on the play, so his 59th RBI of the year. Beckham hitting at 188 out of the number 9 spot. Certainly been a down year for Beckham. In the dirt again, and it's a ball and a strike. DraftKings.com is paying out over $300 million this baseball season. DraftKings has given out $34 million to Boston residents alone since the site launched. Get your free entry into a one-day fantasy baseball contest today using promo code NESSON. 1-1 pitch fouled off to the right, out of play. Beckham, Eaton, and Cabrera in the inning. 9-1-2 for the White Sox. On the ground towards third, Sandoval picks a tough half hop and throws on the run and in time.
Now, the defense recently for Sandoval has been on the uptick. He's made some pretty good plays down at third base recently. Let's go back to Mookie Betts, and you know what's interesting about this is he was really not even running hard the whole way and still able to score. He gets that inside pitch and he cleans that out, which he normally does, and he just kind of taking it easy going into second base. Then he sees the relay, well, I'll go to third, and now he sees the nobody covering home and really turns it on to score without even a slide.
That little shuffle pass there from the pitcher to the catcher, who was 3 feet away, was kind of a desperation move at the end.
They didn't know what to do. They had two guys chasing the bad throw, and you know that's why the pitcher backs up. He's supposed to be able to make that play. Catcher stays at home plate.
This one sprayed foul down the left field line. It's like, here, you take it, go try to get him, and then just flip it to him.
I know I can't catch him. You take it.
Well, Adam Eaton getting a second look at Wade Miley tonight. He grounded out to second base in the first inning. 0 for 1. On the outside corner, now he's getting credit for that outside corner. He wasn't before. That's the first strikeout for Miley.
Yeah, I'd like to see that become consistent throughout the night, one way or the other, because then at least the pitcher knows where he can go with his pitches. 2 strikes, the outside part of the plate, again a little bit off, but this time called the strike. And you know, all you want for the home plate umpire is to be consistent with his calls.
So you can figure out where the strike zone is going to be tonight.
You know, where I've got to be. You know, how much do I have on the outside part of the plate, or do I have the outside part of the plate?
Melky Cabrera grounded out to shortstop in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. Outfield straight away on Cabrera. Line and caught. Rutledge ended up being in the perfect spot. One step to his right, hauls it in. 2-1 Red Sox through 3 from Chicago. Eastern Bank helps make good things happen. Watch out. Good things are happening to local people at easternbank.com/goodthingshappen. 2-1. Red Sox have the lead over the White Sox. Into the fourth inning we go, and Xander Bogaerts leading it off. Bogaerts grounded out to Carlos Sanchez at second base in the first inning. 0 for 1. As this season has progressed for Xander, we've talked so much about his offense and his defense, but him personally, the confidence level has to be at an all-time high.
Absolutely. You know, compared to a year ago where he was still learning his trade, and you know, you've been around, Don. You see how confident he is right now in his ability to play this game, and I think a lot of that came from his defense, not his offense. I think that he was always confident that offensively he could get the job done. I think the big question mark was his defense a year ago, and I got to tell you, watching him play shortstop right now, I am so confident in him out there. You know, I just, to me, anything hitting that direction, it's like it's an out. And you know, when you're playing baseball like that, you know, when you have success, and that brings you great confidence. And when you're confident, you play much better baseball. It's just that easy. You know, when you're out there, you know, hoping you don't make a mistake or the fear of failure, you really don't respond very well to situations.
Just watch how he carries himself now around the clubhouse, everywhere he goes. The way he walks is different.
He's a great kid. He really is a great kid.
Payoff pitch to him. And he'll ground it. Nice pick by Quintana. Reached up and grabbed it, and he retires Bogaerts. Fortunate play there for Quintana.
You know, there are people that come up in this game, and we've seen many of them, that, you know, they come up and they act like big leaguers right away. You know, and say, you know, you haven't done anything here. Just go out there and play and keep quiet. You don't have to worry about that, Bogaerts. I mean, he is absolutely a perfect gentleman. He respects what his job. He respects what has to be done on the field. I can't say enough about him. I really can't.
He is a great kid, and he's been like that since day one.
Day one. Hasn't changed a bit.
And you're right about the other guys. There's guys who get here who are already big leaguers before they step foot on the field.
It's like, you know, you go, are you kidding me? You have no idea what it's about to come. You have no idea.
Well, David Ortiz made a bid for a home run his first time up. Flied out to the warning track in deep right field. Race Thompson was back there to make the catch. And he waves at that pitch. Shifting again are the White Sox on the right side of the infield on Ortiz. Trying to come in on him. And he misses low. 2-2. Giving up the 2 runs in the third inning. It's after he retired the first 8 Red Sox that he faced in the game tonight. 7 ground ball outs through 3 1/3 innings for Quintana on the night. And Ortiz strikes out. Tough pitch down and in at 92.
And keeping that fastball right in on the hands of David Ortiz. Got a little tail to it going back inside, as you can see right there. Just a little bit off the plate, but a very tough pitch to lay off of.
Beacon Insurance, great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance. 2 down here in the 4th inning, and it brings up Travis Shaw. Keep it down clearly is Soto.
Yeah, wow. I mean,
that's emphatic.
Yeah, that's like, you know, I want it way down.
I mean, down. That was incredible.
You know, we noticed this back at Fenway too. Soto, when he throws the ball back to the pitcher, there's the pitch before. He really wants to strike the ball down.
4 downs.
There's no question about it. But when you watch him throw the ball back to the pitcher, he has this weird thing where he goes down to his right knee. His left knee goes down first, then his right knee. And I often wonder, did he have a problem at some point in his career, maybe in the minor leagues or somewhere, where he had trouble throwing the ball back to the pitcher?
Became a mental thing.
Yeah, because it's a very strange relay back to the pitcher. Watch him. He's on his left knee. Now he'll drop to his right. There's a throw.
That's the only way he can throw it back.
Every time.
Close pitch, a little bit low.
It looks very uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Yes. Doesn't really flow. 2-2 pitch from Quintana. Shaw thought about it, but it's in the dirt. Shaw grounded out to Sanchez at second base in the second inning, 0 for 1. On the ground, outside of first and foul. They have dubs on the ball attendants down the right field line. The first ball attendant missed that foul ball. The second one was there to back it up.
I wonder why they double up like that.
Double up. First guy made an error.
The ball down the line.
Yeah.
The other guy gets the one right out. I don't know.
Yeah, dubs on both sides, left and right.
Maybe one's security and one's the foul ball attendant.
On the ground and off the glove of Abreu. It kicks out towards second, and Shaw will reach. So Abreu kind of reaching for that ball, and it glances off his glove.
Yeah, he's not the best of first baseman. That's if that's an error, that's going to be his 7th on the season down at first base. He goes to the backhand right here, and really a ball that could have been handled. It goes off the fat part of the glove, and at first base is Travis Shaw. So we'll see how they score that here in Chicago.
Error charge to him. So a 2-out base runner on the error. Hanley struck out swinging in the second inning, 0 for 1.
Yeah, the more I think about it, Don, I think one of the guys is a security guy and one's a ball attendant. That's what I think's going on down there. There's no other reason to have gloves. See,
both have gloves, though. Yeah, that's the part I don't get.
Yeah, you're right.
This guy doesn't on this side. He's clearly a security guy.
Yeah.
And the other guy's in charge of the balls. But the other guys, they're both gloved up.
Yeah.
Maybe the first ball attendant is not good at his job, and so they have another guy to back him up.
So, going to the bullpen, right?
Right, exactly, because the first guy totally botched that foul ball, but the second guy made a nice play behind him, about 5 feet as it turned out. They stacked it up when the ball came in their direction.
I wonder how they decide every night, like who sits first.
Yeah, who's going to go? Who's going to charge this? The 0-2. And Ramirez straightened up on a pitch inside. See, here we go. You go get it. No, I'm not going to get it, but I got you backed up, buddy.
That was pretty weak, too. Yeah. The first guy was pretty bad. Well, I didn't even have his glove on.
Maybe he's in training. Maybe that's what it is. Runner goes, pitches low. The throw is low, but gets there in time, and out is Travis Shaw. So in the dirt, but dug out there by Sanchez. Tag applied. 2-1 Red Sox. Here's the rundown for a limited time. Sign up for a free checking account with Eastern Bank and get $100. Just text money to 36698. Message and data rates may apply. 2-1, Red Sox have the lead over the White Sox as we head into the bottom of the fourth inning. Jose Abreu, Avisail Garcia, and Trace Thompson. The bat here for Chicago. Miley had a 1-2-3 first, a 1-2-3 third. White Sox got to him for a run in the second inning. RBI single for Carlos Sanchez.
Now Miley doesn't get that pitch. He gets it one time, doesn't get it the other time. So he still doesn't know where the inside corner is.
Mark Rippinger has a plate tonight. Strike to Abreu, and it's 1-2. This move bats from left center to right center here, with 2 strikes on the batter. Another close pitch, 2-2.
Yeah, trying the fastball up and in that time, and again just missing.
Opposite field and in for a base hit for Abreu. A piece of hitting as he takes it to right field.
Now that is the classic inside-out swing right there by Abreu. He gets a fastball from Miley that's looked like it was a little bit inside, and you can see the hands come inside the baseball right here and move that ball to the opposite field. That is really nice hitting by Abreu. That's a tough pitch, and Miley threw it, but Abreu handled it very well.
So lead runner on here, and Abreu with Avisail Garcia coming up. He flied out to center field in the second inning, 0 for 1. Garcia part of the 3-team deal that involved Peavy coming to the Red Sox, and of course Garcia going from the Tigers over to the White Sox. Lines one to right field, down the right field line to the corner. As Abreu heads for third base, they'll stop him there. It's a single for Garcia, and all of a sudden the White Sox have runners at first and third with nobody out.
And once again to the opposite field, this time up over the head of Travis Shaw at first base. So Garcia now with a 5-game hitting streak. That's a very, very similar swing to Abreu's. Jackie Bradley Jr. getting it back in. I mean, that pitch was inside also, and he wasn't quite sure at the beginning whether it was going to be a fair ball or not. He did not run.
So first and third here with nobody out in the inning. Trace Thompson coming up. And Garcia impressed with the move by Miley, and he didn't have a very big lead. In the dirt, blocked nicely by Hannigan.
What Miley's trying to do here is kind of minimize the damage, hope to get a ground ball double play. The run would score on that, but would eliminate the possibility of a big inning. Hannigan blocking the breaking ball in the dirt, keeping that runner at third, runner at first.
Two and 0. Inning started with a single by Abreu opposite field, and Avisail Garcia got a base hit to right. As Abreu took third, first and third, nobody out. On the ground, through the vacated right side into right field, a base hit. Abreu will score. Garcia stops at second, and the White Sox have tied the score 2-2.
I'll tell you, if you're a Chicago White Sox fan in that dugout, you're going to like the way the approach they've had this inning off Miley. I mean, everything is going to the opposite field. Most of the time, this pitch will be curveball will be pulled. Instead, it's a ground ball that's going to get by Travis Shaw and that runner at first base. So all 3 hits of this inning have gone to right field. Now a conference with Alexei Ramirez, third base coach, making sure he's got the signs right in this possible bunt situation.
Ramirez reaching on a fielder's choice in the second inning. Came around to score the White Sox first run, and he is squaring already. And a little pop-up that is going to get back to the pitcher and firing to first in time. Going to third base, I should say, is Miley. He elected to go there. He looked up right away and gets it there in time.
That's a very nice play by Miley, because even though the ball was in the air, it had backspin on it. And Miley, very aggressive off the mound, able to make that play at third base. Look at him charging already. And even though the ball is a pretty good bunt, he's got plenty of time to get the runner at third base. You know, I'm not sure I would have bunted there if I'm the White Sox, because you're talking about a guy that's hitting 6th in the lineup. You know, maybe let him swing the bat. They've got 3 straight hits and they give up an out right there. Doesn't seem to make sense.
That was the first out of the inning. The force out at third of Garcia. And here is Giovanni Soto. Single to center field in the second inning. And he waves at that pitch.
Kind of a believer that if you got things rolling in an inning and you're moving the line, which they were, 3 straight guys in a row getting on, why give the opposition an out with a bunt? It didn't seem to make sense.
Takes you out of a bigger possibility for a big inning, too. We got 2 on now, 1 out. Already a run in that has tied the score 2-2. Soto with a single in the second inning, 1 for 1. Set at 348 since May the 11th.
The change up by Miley that time, 84 right at the bottom of the strike zone.
Swing and a miss, and Soto strikes out. Miley needed that. It's his 2nd strikeout of the night. 2 down.
Hey, doubled up on the changeup. Frisk went a little bit farther away. You can see pitch number 3 and pitch number 4 off the outside part of the plate, but chased by Soto. So he's 1 out away from getting out of a potential big inning by the White Sox.
2 on, 2 down, and Carlos Sanchez, the batter. He singled to drive in a run in the second inning. '60th pitch coming up here from Miley with a count of 1-1 to Carlos Sanchez. On the ground to shortstop. Bogarts will go to second base for the force out that ends the inning. The White Sox get a run and tie the score 2-2 at the end of 4. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag NESSONDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Tweet your photos now. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Now back in Chicago and ready to go here in the top half of the 5th inning. New game tied 2-2. And Hanley Ramirez leads it off in the 5th. Hanley struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. 3 strikeouts in the game for Quintana. On the ground, a deep third. Beckham's got it. His throw is in time. And Hanley Ramirez retired for the first out of the 5th inning. Well, tonight's suits are designed by Joseph Aboud, custom made in the USA, fine Italian fabrics, available at Men's Warehouse. One down in the 5th, and it brings up Ryan Hannigan. Hannigan grounded out to second base in the 3rd inning. Coming in hitting at .255, the Red Sox catcher. Down the right field line and foul. Jackie Bradley Jr. on deck with one out here in the 5th inning. To left field. They're playing him to left center, and this will get into the track and the wall. Back is Melky Cabrera to play it. Hannigan thinking too, and he will get there, sliding in with a 1-out double.
Now Hannigan now with a 5-game hitting streak. They wanted to go inside. They tried to get the ball inside, but Hannigan cleans it out. That ball right in the inside corner. Hannigan almost like he was looking for a pitch in that location and drives it by Melky Cabrera, who, as Don mentioned, was shaded over towards center field. Hannigan in scoring position with 1 out here in the 5th. That's when you hit it, man, you know I got a double, because you can see where that left fielder is, and you just got a long way to go to get it.
1 out, Hannigan at second base, and Jackie Bradley Jr. standing in. On the ground and into center field, a base hit. Hannigan being stopped at 3rd as the throw will be cut off at second base, and Bradley has his first hit of the night. 1st and 3rd now with 1 out.
Yeah, good charge put on by Adam Eaton in center field, and because of that, they had to hold Hannigan. Hannigan, of course, does not run very well. There's the base hit up the middle by Bradley, and they have to hold Hannigan at 3rd base. You see Eaton coming in right there. Now he's got the ball just as he touches 3rd base, so they're not going to take the chance.
So 1st and 3rd, 1 out, and brings up Josh Rutledge. He singled to right field first time up. For the first, and back to the bag is Bradley. 11 for 11 is Jackie Bradley Jr. Never been caught. First and 3rd, 1 out in a tie game. Red Sox threatening here in the 5th.
You'll notice with a man at 3rd base, when they're giving signs like this, the 3rd base coach will relay the signs to the hitter. Hannigan will watch the 3rd base coach give the signs, just in case there's a squeeze play on. Then the 3rd base coach will walk to the man on 3rd base and also give him a vocal sign, and there's always a trigger word that means squeeze. not saying it's going to happen in this situation, but I'm just trying to describe what goes on down at third base in these situations. There's Butterfield giving the signs. Hannigan checking him out. Now he'll go to Hannigan and he'll give him a vocal sign, and there's usually a trigger word if there's a play on.
Another check on Bradley at first base. Rutledge fouls it off himself.
Of course, the question you'd have at home is, well, of course, couldn't the third baseman hear a vocal sign? Of course he could, but it could be any word. It could be hot, it could be Don, it could be, you know, score, it could be the sky, it could be any word you want. Something, you know, that's the word of the night, and it may change by inning.
Swing and a miss, and Rutledge strikes out. Big K there for Quintana. That's the fourth strikeout for Quintana. 2 down.
A huge strikeout there on the curveball, and a good job by Soto to block that ball too with the man at third base. Expecting the curveball down in the dirt, he catches generally block that ball pretty well because they're expecting a breaking ball to be in the dirt.
So 2 outs, first and third. Top of the order, Mookie Betts has struck out swinging and doubled to drive in a run in the third inning. Breaking ball in the dirt and taken off for second base is Bradley, and he's going to be out. So Jackie Bradley Jr. saw the ball in the dirt, tried to take second, and they throw him out. What appeared to be a promising inning. Red Sox don't get anything. 2-2 the score. For his commitment to 4,900 accredited charities throughout New England. Jerry, not the wrong play, really, was it? I mean, taking off there, a ball in the dirt?
No, I didn't think so. I think the wrong play may have been at third base. And why not take off there, too? If you see the runner at first base going, well, what do you got to lose? You know, maybe take off at third base, force them to make a relay throw to home. And if you got to make the final out, make it at home plate. There's Bradley taking off. Now, once I see that as a third baseman and the throw goes through, or a runner at third, I'm going home. And I'm going to try to make them throw me out at home plate.
Off the end of the bat, grounded towards first. Shaw will shuffle it underhanded with Miley covering. And Beckham retired.
Well, certainly Soto liked getting Bradley at second base. That's what catchers do, right?
One down here in the 5th inning. Adam Eaton is 0 for 2. He's grounded out to second base and struck out looking. Cabrera waiting on deck as pitch in the dirt. Miley's not walked anybody yet tonight. 2 strikeouts through 4 1/3 innings. Gave up a run in the 2nd, a run in the 4th inning. Game tied 2-2 here in the bottom of the 5th. In there for a strike, and it's 3-1. To left field and a base hit for Eaton. Just took it the other way. This has got great speed. We'll see what he does here at first base with 1 down in the inning.
It's kind of a half swing, wasn't it? Almost serving it over into left field. Got the breaking ball from Miley. Did a pretty decent job staying back on it, but kind of a weird swing right here as he just kind of loops it to the opposite field for the base hit.
12 out of 17 in stolen bases for Adam Eaton. Aboard here with 1 down in the inning, and Melky Cabrera now the batter. And he'll send one into center field quickly for a base hit. Eaton up to second base. And the White Sox have 2 on with 1 away. Well, a bit now for your chance to have Big Papi, Brock Holt, Dustin Pedroia, and other Red Sox stars pour ice over your head at Fenway Park for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Package includes 2 tickets to the Red Sox against the Yankees on the 31st and a special Red Sox #3 Pete Brady's jersey. Bid now at redsox.com/ALS. 1 out, 2 on as Jose Abreu's coming up. Lined out to left in the first, single to right in the 4th, and scored the 2nd White Sox run. Strike 1, right at the bottom of the zone.
That might have been the best curveball that Miley's thrown tonight. Had a big break to it. Starts up high, about shoulder high, and finishes down around the ankles. Once again, Miley not getting the inside corner, but that ball is pretty far inside. Correct call by the home plate umpire.
There is strike 2. Miley got Beckham to ground out to first to begin the inning. Singles for Eaton and Cabrera back to back. On the ground, down to third base. Sandoval is going to touch third, throw to first, and turn it into a double play. Nicely done by Pablo Sandoval. Good footwork down there at third base. Red Sox out of a jam, still tied 2-2. Let's check out the Red Sox box score.
Back in Chicago, all tied at 2 as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Sandoval, tag third, go to first. Picks up the ground ball. There's the tag. No slide by the runner, which surprised me a little bit. I mean, you can actually slide in and try to take out the third baseman in that situation. It's like a play at second base, but they did not, and that made it easy for Sandoval to make that throw across the diamond at first.
On the top of the Red Sox order, leading it off here in Mookie Betts. Mookie struck out swinging in the first, doubled in the third to drive in a run, and scored a run himself. Red Sox had something going in the 5th inning with runners at first and second and 1 out, but a big double play gets Miley out of the jam. Oh, 2 to Betts.
Now, they've actually had a couple of opportunities to score more runs than what they have. You mentioned the double play, Don, to get out of the 5th, and I thought a managing mistake in the 4th when they sacrificed or attempted to sacrifice and had the runner throw it out of third base. It just didn't make sense to me at that time, because you had a chance there. You know, you had 3 hits in a row and already a run in, and you got your 6-hitter at the plate, and I just thought he should have been swinging away there. It gave the Red Sox an out, and they get out of the inning with no more runs given up.
They got 8 hits in the game and not a lot to show for it. That's a ground this past the mound up the middle to the backhand goes Sanchez, thrown not nearly in time. And the second hit of the night from Mookie Betts.
Well, we talk about it all the time. I know the feeling. You know, you go so far to get the ball and you want to complete the play so badly, but you have to know who's running. And with Mookie Betts running, you got no chance at all to get him at first base. The only thing that can come of this is something bad. You know, a throw that gets away from the first baseman and Betts ends up at second base. There's Mookie. I mean, he knows it's a base hit right there.
But you can't help it.
You just can't help yourself because you've gone so far. You just want to complete the play, but you got to know the speed of the runner.
Going to do it one way or another. I am going to throw to first base.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it, and I'm going to throw it away if I have to. And guys are going to be running all over the place, and the crowd's going to be booing me, and I'm not going to be happy.
Do you feel better about yourself when you throw it? I mean, you say,
actually, when you're done, you say, why did I even throw that ball? You know?
There's Pablo Sandoval with nobody out. A check on first base. That's back to the bag. 17 out of 21 for Mookie Betts. You got the lefty Quintana on the mound looking right at him. And this one fouled back and to our left. Well, it's easy to start earning DD Perks rewards. Download the Dunkin' mobile app and enroll in any DD card and perks right on the app. Message and data rates may apply. For full terms of use, visit DunkinDonuts.com. Red Sox Nation runs on Dunkin'. Runner on for the Red Sox here in the 6th inning, and Mookie Betts at first base. Soft toss this time. Betts back without a problem.
Well, 2 Oilers' foot was dangerous to go on because always the front of a pitch out, no balls and 2 strikes.
There's a ground ball by the dive, and the first baseman Abreu down the right field line. Betts headed for third, and Butterfield's going to send him, going to try and score. Trouble getting it out of the corner, and Betts will score without a problem. Into second base goes Sandoval, and the Red Sox take a 3-2 lead. Not sure what happened down there with Thompson. It's out of our sight line, but he had all kinds of trouble in the right field corner.
And Sandoval really got a gift here on an 0-2 pitch. He got a fastball middle in and was able to pull it right down that first base line. Here's that pitch, a bad location. They were supposed to go away. It stayed inside, and he goes right over the bag. And, you know, you can tell from here they're going to be able to score Betts. Now, I don't know what happened down there either. He dropped it looked like. And then by the bad relay and all that going on, you know, but Betts has already come around the plate. So I think he'd have scored anyway, despite the bobble out there.
23rd double of the year for Pablo. Stands at second base with nobody out. Red Sox have the lead. And here is Xander Bogaerts. 0 for 2. He has grounded out twice. In there for a strike, and it's 1-1. Kind of late on the cut. Got a piece of it foul tipping in, and it's 1-2.
That sneaky fastball again from Quintana. You know, it doesn't look like he's throwing very hard, but he's up around 94.
The hitter's acting like it's a lot more.
Yeah, it's like it's catching up to him very late.
David Ortiz waiting on deck. Nobody out here in the Boston 6th inning. Through the left side into left field, a base hit, and Sandoval move over to third base. And Xander Bogaerts has his first hit of the night. First and third now with nobody out. 3 straight hits for the Red Sox. And Don Cooper, the pitching coach, coming out.
Job by Bogaerts that time, staying on the breaking ball right there. That's down and in, and pulls it, finds that hole between third and short. Because it's directly at the left field there, you can see Sandoval has no chance to score. And with nobody out, you're not going to take that chance of getting him thrown out at home plate anyway.
MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. First and third with a run in here in the 6th inning. And David Ortiz with his 3rd at bat of the night. He is flied out to right and struck out swinging. David now with 571 career doubles. For the first and back to the bag is Bogaerts. Sanders 7 out of 8. Action for the first time for the White Sox. Right-hander Jake Petrichka is up in the pen. Trying to grab that corner, and Soto framing it that time, but it's outside. 86 pitches right now for Quintana with nobody out in the 6th inning. Ventura's got his bullpen moving. Fouled off, 2-2.
It's a couple of times that Ortiz has had inside pitches to work on, but has not been able to make contact. Last time he struck out on an inside fastball, that time he topped it and fouled it off.
Pitching line is brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. 5+, 7 runs, or 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, and another check at first base. That's 4 strikeouts, not walked anybody in the ball game tonight, but in a jam here and has already given up a run in the inning. Did Ortiz go? Yes. Doug Eddings rings him up. David very defensively trying to hold up there, and he ends up going around, according to Eddings. Big strikeout for Quintana.
Yeah, once again going inside against Ortiz with the fastball. Let's take a look from the side. I think he did go.
So 5 strikeouts now for Quintana. Second time that David has struck out in the game tonight. And here is Travis Shaw. Shaw, the ground out to second base in the 2nd. Reached on an error in the 4th inning. Three runs, 7 hits, no errors for Boston. 2 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for the White Sox. Pablo Sandoval at third, Xander Bogaerts at first base. The Sox have taken the lead here in the 6th inning. Shaw will take ball 2. Foul back. Thought we had a shot.
Yeah, and it was pretty soft too.
It was playable.
It was catchable. Yes.
Unlike the one at home last homestand.
You know what I would like, Don, is I got these glasses I have to wear now to read, and it's like I'm almost afraid to try to make a play on the ball, because if I box it up, it's going to smash my face. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
The glasses will be all over the place.
Yeah, it won't be pretty.
No, it will not be pretty.
No.
So I get a little shy, gun shy from those foul balls because of these dumb glasses.
Right, and to be on television. And that's the other thing, you know, it's on TV.
But that was very catchable. It was soft. It was easy. You know, but then if I box it, it's.
This one is fouled off. You see that shot from center field of you and I here, and every time I see this shot, I think of when you explained to me the difference between mittens and gloves.
Oh, was it here?
Yes, it was here.
We were wearing gloves. Weren't we?
Well, it was freezing here.
Yeah.
I think it had to be either early in the season or late in the season. But it was absolutely freezing.
I was stunned that you didn't know the difference.
I still really don't, but that's okay.
You
but
still don't know the difference?
No, I really don't have a real good feel as to the difference. Something about that it has fingers, the other one doesn't. I don't know. But anyway, what I had on was warm, and it reminds me of this ballpark every time I'm here when I see that shot.
Let me try to explain to you. When you put on a pair of gloves, every finger,
every one of them
is covered. You have that. When you put on mittens, you have just the one thing for the thumb, and the big thing is for the hand.
So I guess I had mittens on at the time, was what I was wearing.
Oh, you're wearing gloves.
I have to check it out. I thought I had mittens at the time. I wasn't wearing batting. It was before my batting glove thing, where I wore batting gloves, during the cold weather. I think I had mittens that I had gotten here. It wasn't supposed to be cold that night.
Yeah.
And I think I had mittens. But anyway, that's what it reminds me of when I look at it.
I couldn't believe you didn't know.
No, that's a glove. It turns out it's not a mitten.
Yeah, that's not a mitten. No.
So I appreciate it, though, very, very much. Now I know. I mean,
I got nothing to say.
So first and third here with one down for Travis Shaw. On the ground right side, Sanchez will go to second base for one. They return to first. Won't get him, and a run scores. In from third comes Sandoval, and the Red Sox take a 4-2 lead.
I think that was a gift because, if I'm Sanchez there, I think I got a chance at the plate. There's no chance really for a double play. You got to go so far to your left as he does right here. The ball's not hit hard, so you read that right away, and you're not going to get a double play. If you come home, he might have had a chance, may have had a chance at Sandoval. So the Red Sox pick up a run on what, maybe could have been an out at home plate.
So Shaw at first base picks up a RBI, his 14th of the year, and the Red Sox pick up a run on top 4-2. Hanley with a big swing and a grounder, bounding ball, foul. Ramirez tonight has struck out swinging and grounded out to third base, 0 for 2. Strike two.
Kind of pleasant being here in these kind of weather conditions too in Chicago. Usually when we come here, it's either very, very cold or hot and humid. This is beautiful for baseball.
67 degrees to begin the ball game tonight. He was in that area last night as well.
Kind of nights the players appreciate too. You don't have to be in through the hot weather all summer long and get to some of this cool weather. Kind of get you energized a little bit.
Last week of August, getting ready for September. One-two pitch in the dirt, and it evens now at 2-2. Outfield straight away here for the White Sox all the way around. Four runs now, 7 hits, no errors for Boston. 2 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for the White Sox. Ryan Hannigan waiting on deck. Pitch count rising for Quintana. This is 99. And Ramirez strikes out to end the inning. 2 runs for the Red Sox. Boston takes a 4-2 lead. Wade Miley's pitching line is brought to you by Ace Ticket. 5 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, no walks, and 2 Ks. 72 pitches deep, 49 of which have been strikes. And he now has a 2-run lead as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Avisail Garcia leading it off here for the White Sox. A lot of comparisons to Avisail Garcia when he was with the Tigers as being perhaps a young Miguel Cabrera. Certainly his numbers not nearly that. But the upside still pretty large as he swings and lifts a fly ball to short right field. Jackie Bradley Jr. making his way in. And he'll make the catch for the first out here of the 6th inning. It's time for a game break brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Tom? All right, Tom, thanks very much. Back here at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago, where the Red Sox have a 4-2 lead now with 1 out of the inning, and Miley dealing with Trace Thompson. Thompson's 2 for 2 against him tonight, a triple in the 2nd inning. Then he singled to right in the 4th to drive in a run. Foul back, and it's a ball and a strike. Two-one pitch, and it's on the ground towards Sandoval at third base. Tricky hop, fields and throws in time to get Thompson. 2 down here in the 6th inning. Well, tonight's poll question is presented by the Scion TC. Who is the greatest White Sox player of all time? Louis Aparicio. Sox 1, Sox 2 for Harold Baines, Sox 3 for Nellie Fox, Sox 4 for Frank Thomas. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. 1 message per vote. Visit NESN.com/terms for terms and conditions and privacy policy.
You know, I really don't know how to answer that question.
Did you see all of those guys?
Well, I certainly saw Aparicio, Baines, and Frank Thomas. Nellie Fox. When I was a kid, everybody had a Nellie Fox bat. We had a big, thick handle.
Loop to right center and in for a base hit for Alexei Ramirez. That was pretty customary then.
I don't know what kind of deal Nellie had with, you know, the bat companies or whatever it is, but it seemed like every bat that was made for a kid was a Nellie Fox model. And it always had a big, thick handle so it wouldn't break. You know, and that's all we used as kids was Nellie Fox bats. That's before aluminum bats. So I mean, I don't know how to answer that question. I got an affection for Nellie Fox because
first bat.
Oh, he's got number 2 also.
Oh, he got that going too.
Yeah.
So I'd say your answer is Nellie Fox. Harold Baines played here forever. I mean, like a couple of different times even.
They actually retired his number before he even retired from baseball.
Yeah. Here's the Harold Baines statue. We were here a couple years ago for the Frank Thomas unveiling of his statue here at U.S. Cellular Field.
Yeah, Frank was pretty good too.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
There it is. He was here that day and spoke to the crowd. Soto taking a ball from Wade Miley.
Right now, Frank Thomas running away with our pole.
One to Soto. And a swing and a miss.
The first time I saw Frank Thomas, I said, my goodness, is this a big guy? I mean, he's huge. His legs were huge, big, broad shoulders. Strong guy.
Too far inside, and it's 2-2. Soto with a single to center in the second. He struck out swinging in the fourth inning. Everybody in the White Sox order has at least one hit, with the exception of Gordon Beckham, who is on deck. Full count now. They got the first two outs of the inning in Garcia and Thompson, but a single by Ramirez. Now full count to Giovanni Soto.
Trying to get the attention of Miley with the count 3-2. They're going to be playing behind him at first base, and that's what the timeout was for.
Rolled over, foul. First full count for Wade Miley, and it comes here with 2 outs in the 6th inning. Backhand into center field. Betts gets to it, but heading to third base is Ramirez, and all of a sudden now the White Sox have runners at first and third.
Yeah, that time Soto was ready for the change. He got him on a change last time to strike him out, and he tried to double up on the change here the last 2 pitches. And that one stayed up in the zone just a little bit, and Soto takes it back up the middle for the base hit. Looks like it hit Miley. And then bounced high into center field.
First and third, 2 down, and Carlos Sanchez coming up. 1 for 2 in the ball game with an RBI. And there for strike 1. Red Sox on top by 2, but the White Sox threatening here, all coming with 2 outs. Grounder towards second base, slowly hit. Rutledge will flip to second base for the force out that ends the inning. Miley gets out of the jam as the White Sox strand a pair. Red Sox have a 4-2 lead. on NESN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Back at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago, Red Sox holding on to a 4-2 lead as this call to the bullpen is brought to you by Kia. Quintana going the first 6 innings. And the White Sox going to the pen for Jake Petrushka, his 51st appearance, 3-3 with a 3.59 earned run average, 29 strikeouts, 16 walks, and opponents hitting at .294 against Petrushka. Ryan Hannigan takes strike 1. Hannigan is grounded out to second base and double. So Quintana going the first 6 innings. He departs on the hook. Gives up 7 hits, 4 runs in his outing. Didn't walk anybody and struck out 6. Quintana came into the game individually at 7-10. Jackie Bradley Jr., then Josh Rutledge expected here in the 7th inning for Boston. On the ground and to his left is Beckham. Good stretch at first by Abreu, and they're able to get Hannigan. Well, as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Use hashtag NESN Data Strong Fan, and you just may see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Tweet your photos now. Brought to you by T-Mobile. One out here in the 7th for Jackie Bradley Jr. Bradley grounded out to first base in the 3rd, singled to center in the 5th, 1 for 2. Bottom of the order, Josh Rutledge waiting on deck. Rutledge giving up 2 runs in his last 10 appearances as the pitch is strike over the outside corner. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Pretty good movement on that fastball right there, as you can see it really take off and go away from Bradley Jr. Starts out in the outside part of the plate, but then look at that late movement. Even tough to catch for Soto, the catcher.
More action for the White Sox in their pen as Zach Duke is now up, left-hander. Not sure, leading with Jake Petrushka out of the pen. Now Duke up in the pen. Framed by Soto, but it's outside for ball 3. On the ground, right side, Sanchez. 2 down in the inning. Right now, Ace Ticket has super savings on all Red Sox tickets. Tickets start at just $9. New York Yankees tickets start at $33. Supplies are limited. Visit aceticket.com right now for super savings. And Red Sox fans happy here in Chicago, on top right now, 4-2 with 2 outs in the 7th inning. And it brings up Josh Rutledge. He singled and scored in the 3rd inning, struck out swinging in the 5th inning. Wild swing and a miss.
That ball there never really in the strike zone to Rutledge. It was a breaking ball that started off outside and continued to go even farther and farther away from the right-hander. It's just not picking the ball up very well out of the pitcher's hand.
Only 5 home runs since 2013 allowed by Patricia, tied for the second lowest among American League relievers in that category, and generally pitches pretty low in the zone, gets a lot of ground ball outs, causing a lot of double play balls, and that's part of the reason that he comes in a lot of times with men on for Robin Ventura.
Yeah, he's got that action on the fastball, that sinking action, which creates a lot of ground balls. He throws a curveball, which also, when thrown down in the zone, creates a lot of ground balls.
He's ready with a 2-2 pitch. And the other way, Rutledge with a base hit. Didn't look good early in the at-bat, but he comes back to get a base hit, his second of the night.
Yeah, second time he's going in that direction, too, to the opposite field. Now, that sinker didn't sink. It stayed up in the zone, and that's what happens. Generally, there's good, solid contact against a sinker ball pitcher when he leaves one up there. And Rutledge doing a good job taking it to the opposite field for the base hit. So that keeps the Red Sox away from a 1-2-3 inning here in the 7th.
2 down, Rutledge at first base, and Mookie Betts coming up. That struck out in the first, doubled in the third, singled in the 6th inning, and has scored 2 runs tonight for the Red Sox. On the ground, diving at third base is Beckham from his knees to second base for the force out. Nice play by Beckham at third. 7th inning stretch from Chicago, 4-2 Boston. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now on southwest.com. Your local Subaru dealers. Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. And by the Scion TC. 4-2. Red Sox have the lead as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Gordon Beckham going the other way with a little flare out to right field for a base hit. Let's send it down to Guerin.
Hey, thanks, Don. Interim manager Torey Lovello seemed very optimistic that Dustin Pedroia will play before the end of the season. He said it's a great sign that he's on the trip and he's about to get started in more aggressive baseball activity, take some ground balls. So we may see him back here.
Well, he has been traveling with the Red Sox, and Jerry, certainly they're going to take their time with the hamstring situation, and no reason at this point this year to rush him back in any way, shape, or form.
Now, he's been frustrated a couple of times with it because, you know, it's been a bad hamstring pull. There's no question about that, to take this long. And, you know, a couple of times he tried to come back, thought he was coming back, but hadn't made the progress to be able to do a lot of things on the field. So am I confident he can play before the end of the season? Yeah, and I think he'd like to make sure that thing's okay going into the offseason.
There's no doubt that more rest is not a bad thing at all for him, looking towards this offseason for him, and certainly a very frustrating situation. I don't think we realized how bad it was going to be when it happened.
No, I was scared it was something structurally wrong with his knee.
Yeah, I remember
when that happened. And but it's been a long time. You know, let's say if it was a torn cartilage.
Grounded softly at the Rutledge. He will flip to first base for the out on Eaton as Beckham takes second base.
You know, if it's a torn cartilage nowadays, you're back in 6 weeks.
Right.
Back playing. So
this is actually kind of worse.
Yeah, it's almost like it's been longer than that. So tough break for Pedroia, obviously. It drives him crazy not to play.
Last game he played in was July 22nd. As part of his comeback at that point. And that was short-lived, as it turned out. Came back too soon. One out, runner at second base for Melky Cabrera. Grounded out to short, lined out to second, and singled to center field. 1 for 3 in the game. Red Sox have action for the first time tonight. Alexia Gondo up in the pen. The 1 pitch. In the dirt, blocked by Hannigan. And no advance at second base for Beckham. He's able to kind of keep in front of him and push it up the first base line.
Job again by Hannigan behind the plate. It's the breaking ball, and that comes up and hits him right off the right shoulder. So no advance at second base.
Swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts for Miley in the ball game tonight. This one will get away, and to third base goes Beckham. Wild pitch charged away Miley.
That ball down in the dirt, but that time it's a fastball down in the dirt, and those are the toughest for catchers to block. You know, we talk about getting down low on the breaking ball, changeups, they expect them down, fastballs they don't. A lot of times those are the ones that you see get by the catcher. So Beckham moves up to third base.
Cabrera reaches out and fouls it back. Well, don't miss WB Mason Extra Innings Live right after the game. TC and Tim Wakefield to break down tonight's game. You'll hear from Wade Miley. Whatever, whenever, wherever. Who but WB Mason? Popped up foul off to the right, out of play. Wade Miley, 98, equal to his average. Ways to go to get to that 120 for Miley as he works here with 1 out in the 7th inning. back under the glove of Miley into center field, and from third Beckham will score, and it's a one-run game. 4-3 now. Red Sox have the lead. Melky Cabrera with his second hit of the night drives in a run.
And Cabrera got a breaking ball that time that stayed up in the zone from Miley. It takes it back up the middle to drive in a run. Picks up his 61st RBI of the season. And Miley had most pitches down, but that one stayed up. And he gets hurt on it.
Carl Willis, pitching coach, headed out here to talk to Miley. Gone to warming in the pen. And one out and a runner at first base now for the White Sox. The tying run at first base for the White Sox. Home plate umpire Mark Rippinger headed out to break up the meeting. Miley will be dealing with Jose Abreu, the 3-hitter in the White Sox order, coming up. We're at first base, one out here in the White Sox 7th inning. He is lined out to left, single to right, and grounded into a double play in tonight's game. And a swing and a miss.
A little anxious Abreu that time, chasing one up and out of the strike zone.
Oh, 0-2.
That's a good pitch by Miley. He gets him to chase a high fastball, then comes right back to a changeup down and out of the strike zone. So he's quickly got ahead of him without really throwing a strike.
White Sox now with 12 hits in the game, out hitting the Red Sox 12-8. The Red Sox holding on to a 4-3 lead right now. And this one will clank off of Hannigan all the way to the Red Sox dugout. And Cabrera will be at second base here with one out. The tying run now in scoring position.
Well, the way Hannigan reacted to that, it's almost like he lost it. Watch the reaction by Hannigan as he goes to catch this high fastball. It's almost like he put his glove in front of his eyes and just didn't see the baseball as it popped out of the glove.
Charged with a pass ball. Twelve hits allowed tonight by Miley is a career high. Strike three call. Big strikeout there from Miley, second out of the inning.
Now that was certainly borderline, but one that Miley's happy to get. There's been a few borderline tonight that he has not got, and he does get this one. That is just barely a strike, and I think Abreu probably figured that was a little bit low.
3 strikeouts on the night for Miley. One bigger than that one, 2 down. Aviciel Garcia, who has flied out to center, single to right. Last time up, flied out to right. Oh, a check swing there doesn't go, or did he? They'll check. No, he did not. This is Bill Miller, first base umpire.
I think good job holding up that time by Garcia.
Bouncing in, and Hannigan with a good stop there on a hop.
Well, that was a great play by Hannigan. This ball had backstop written all over it. Look where it bounced, way out in front of the plate.
He's been busy this inning, no doubt about it.
Yep.
Two-0 pitch. And it's in there for a strike, 2-1.
No fastball and a 2-0 count there to Garcia. A changeup from Miley. Of course, 2-0 hitters most of the time sitting on the fastball.
Three and one. Miley's not walked anybody tonight. Through the first 6 2/3 innings, he's fallen behind here, 3-1. Trace Thompson waiting on deck. And there's the first walk given up by Miley of the night. A 2-out walk here in the 7th inning. Brings up Trace Thompson, who's had a good night, couple of hits, triple and a single. He's driven in a run. Leading at the mound, Bogart's headed to the mound, so is Hannigan. Well, stay tuned for Red Sox Final presented by Uno's. TC and Tim Wakefield to break down the AL East race. Kondo ready to go if they choose to go in his direction. Been warming up for the better part of the inning. 2 on, 2 down with the Red Sox on top by a run. Tying run in scoring position right now for the White Sox. Line into left field, a base hit, and this is trouble. It's headed to the corner. Cabrera's coming around. He will score. Rattles around as Garcia is going to try and score the go-ahead run, and he does. 2 runs in for the White Sox, and they take a 5-4 lead. A huge double for Trace Thompson, his 3rd hit of the night. And that'll be the night for Wade Miley.
Well, Trace Thompson has had a big night, and that fastball's on the inside part of the plate that he just cleans out. It gets by Ramirez. Once he gets by Ramirez out there in left field, that means that second run's going to come across the go-ahead run. There's the ball kicked by Hanley and all the way back to the wall. Once the third base coach saw that, wave home another one.
Pitching change from Chicago with the White Sox on top. 5-4, White Sox have the lead over the Red Sox now. 2 outs here in the 7th inning, and Alexei Gondo into the game as he faces Alexei Ramirez and misses for ball 1. Runner at second base and Trace Thompson, as the White Sox have just taken the lead, and Gondo has just taken over on the mound. His 51st appearance, 2-0 with a 3.76, 52 2/3 innings, 46 strikeouts, 19 walks, and opponents hitting at .234 against Gondo. As Wade Miley coming out of the game, now on the hook and still responsible for the runner at second base. Ramirez in the air to left center. Over comes Hanley Ramirez and Betts will take charge. Oh, that one looked scary for a moment, but Betts makes the catch. 3 runs for the White Sox. Let's take a look at the updated Red Sox box score. Down the Bruins' depth at center. They'll preview the upcoming year for the Detroit Red Wings. Bruins Summer Face-Off Live is presented by New England Nissan dealers. 5-4, White Sox have taken the lead over the Red Sox as we head to the top half of the 8th inning. Pablo Sandoval coming up. Pitcher is Zach Duke into the game, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the White Sox, and Duke side-arming it in there for strike 1. 56 appearance, 3-4 with a 3.47 earned run average, 49 strikeouts. Opponents hitting at .218 against the lefty. Must be tough on lefties. It's 0-2.
Yeah, different angle, obviously dropping down to the side. It almost looks like, when you're a hitter, you're looking out towards second base, the second baseman, where he's unloading the baseball.
Sandoval doesn't chase, too far outside that time. So Petrishka is now the pitcher of record for the White Sox. He pitched the 7th inning, win an inning, giving up a hit, no runs, didn't walk anybody, nor did he strike anybody out. Two pitches outside, full count. On the ground, chop foul outside of first. Sandoval, Bogarts, and Ortiz expected here in the 8th inning. Red Sox now trailing by a run. Chop foul again outside of first. Game number 126 of the year for the Red Sox. A couple of leads in this game, but right now they are trailing 5-4 as Sandoval fouls off another. We'll see a 10th pitch in this at bat now. Zach Duke's been trying to put him away, but Pablo hanging tough here to begin things in the 8th. And he's badly fooled on that one. Finally got him on the 10th pitch as Zach Duke wins that battle.
Has that big sweeping breaking ball again. Very tough on left-handers to pick up. And actually that one stayed inside, but you can see how much it breaks. It actually starts out almost behind Sandoval and then picked up the inside part of the plate.
Further action for the White Sox. Nate Jones up in the pen. With one out here in the 8th inning. Bogarts will take a pitch outside. Xander has grounded out twice and single to left. On deck, David Ortiz, who's had a quiet night at the plate. He's 0 for 3, striking out a couple of times. Bogarts, an off balance cut there, fooled. We've seen some tough swings here against Zach Duke.
Yeah, it's a look you don't get very often, you know, that Duke has. This one's more over the top, but it's a changeup.
White Sox got 6 innings from their starter Jose Quintana, who's now off the hook. Jake Petrishka went an inning, and now Zach Duke working here in the 8th with 1 out. And Bogarts strikes out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Zach Duke. 2 down in the 8th inning.
Yeah, both strikeouts too coming on that same pitch. One to a left-hander, this time to the right-hander Bogarts. Drops down to the side. It's interesting, when he threw the changeup, he was more on top. When he throws that breaking ball like that, he drops down more to the side. So a couple of different looks. I wonder if you know if you're a hitter, if you know the changeup's coming when he comes more over the top.
You know, the problem is too, as a reliever, you don't have the chance to see him multiple times either.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a one-time thing.
Now that last pitch there again was more over the top, and it looked like a fastball. Here comes a changeup. Let's see where this release point is. Over the top.
So you're saying only the breaking ball is when he drops down.
So far.
On a strike here to Ortiz with 2 outs.
It's going to drop down this time, I think. Yep. They call for the slider, drops down to the side, and there's the breaking ball.
Three and 1 out to Ortiz. Very careful here with Big Papi. He's shifting on him on the right side after Duke struck out Sandoval and Bogarts. Now behind Ortiz. And David takes strike 2. And he ends up striking out, so Duke comes back to get him. He strikes out the side. The White Sox have a 5-4 lead. Bottom of the 8th inning back in Chicago. White Sox have a 5-4 lead over the Red Sox, and Alexia Gondo is back on the mound. Bottom third of the White Sox order for Gondo to deal with. Giovanni Soto leads it off and takes strike one. Soto has 2 hits in the game, both singles to center field. He's also struck out swinging. Both of his hits are to center field tonight. Wade Miley ended up going 6 2/3 innings in this game. Out a total of 13 hits. That's a new career high for him. He gave up 5 runs. There's a pop up on the first base line. Travis Shaw making his way in for the first out here at the bottom of the 8th inning. Now tonight's game summary is brought to you by Xfinity. Wade Miley 6 2/3 of 13 hits I mentioned. The 5 runs, he's on the hook right now. That's offensively 2 for 4. Quintana, who had been on the hook for the White Sox, has 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Thompson tonight, the rookie, pretty impressive, 3 for 4 in the ball game, including a triple. Melky Cabrera, who has really struggled with the plate lately, having a good night, 2 for 4 in the ball game tonight. As David Robertson is up in the pen now for the White Sox, getting ready for the 9th inning. An inning that'll feature Travis Shaw, Hanley Ramirez, and Ryan Hanigan scheduled to bat in the inning. It's Carlos Sanchez, and that went down by his knees for ball 1. Had to dance out of the way. It's pretty good footwork to get out of the way.
Looks like you on the dance floor.
Singled in the second.
Except you have no footwork. You're all upper body.
It's all hands, Jerry. Always has been. Fouled off to the left out of play. Gondo's retired both batters he's facing coming into the game. He got Alexia Ramirez to end the 7th. It's Soto to pop out to begin the 8th. And a 1-1 pitch to Carlos Sanchez. And a base hit by the dive of Rutledge at second base into right. So Sanchez has his 2nd hit of the night.
Yeah, base hit back in the 2nd inning to drive in a run. Now gets the base hit with 1 out here in the 8th inning. So a 2 for 4 night for Sanchez. He hooks that ball. That a changeup away, excuse me, from Gondo, and he hooks it past the dive of Rutledge.
1 out, 1 on, and it brings up Gordon Beckham. He's grounded out to third, grounded out to first, and singled to right. Slings it over to first base, and Sanchez back again. Everybody in the White Sox order has at least 1 hit in the ball game tonight, and they have 14 now as a team. In there for a strike on the outside corner. Straightens him up on a pitch in. Red Sox have more action in their pen. The left-hander Tommy Lane. Outside for ball 2, 2-1. Alexia Gondo last worked on Sunday at home against Kansas City in the finale of the homestand. He started the 7th inning. Gave up a hit. Got 2/3 of an inning of work. More being lifted for Tommy Lane, who's currently warming in the pen now. A little closer that time, but Sanchez back to the bag.
Yeah, it's a good time right here to maybe play a little hit and run. And it looked like Sanchez was leaning a little bit towards second base. A 2-1 count, 1 out, bottom of the lineup. Not a bad play to put on. See the little break towards second base?
Yep. In the wrong direction there for a moment.
Maybe they gave it away. Maybe they took it off. We'll see.
Nope, he's going, and here's a base hit through the right side. So we keep on going. Sanchez to third, throw goes there. It's a good one, and he is out. Wow.
Yes.
Jackie Bradley Jr. with a throw from right field to get him.
Well, we called it the hit run play. Perfect time for it, but boy, did Jackie Bradley Jr. ever make a throw here. What a charge he puts on the ball. Gets a quick release and a bullet to Sandoval at third base. I think they might be. They challenging this at third base? They might be, because Lovello was going out, and they told him to go back to the dugout. And now it looks like they are going to challenge it.
The umpires getting together on the challenge at the play at third base.
Let's take another look at it. There's the throw. It certainly has him beat. But does he get his hand around the tag? Couldn't tell from that particular angle. Here might be a better angle. Well, it seems to me like he tagged it before he got to the bag. And the umpire was really in a perfect position to see that.
Doug Eddings at third base umpire. I think he got him.
I think he did too, Don.
But
how are we doing?
We were very sure on a play like the first or second inning it didn't go so well.
I'm going to stick with out on this though, so you can put your money on first and third.
The umpires have come together, and he is out at third base. So 2 down. Great throw from Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, that's pretty special stuff out there by Jackie Bradley Jr. I mean, you don't see very often a base hit go in that direction and a hit and run and have a guy thrown out at third base. It was well executed offensively and better executed defensively by Jackie Bradley Jr.
Torey Lovello headed out there now. Tommy Lane in the game here for the Red Sox, and first pitch swinging is Adam Eaton with a runner at first and 2 down. Lane, the third arm used tonight by Torey Lovullo, his 48th appearance, 0-1 with a 4.35 ERA, 39 strikeouts, 19 walks, and opponents hitting at .255 against Lane. Good lead at first base for Beckham. Lane noticed and checks on him.
Yeah, Beckham does not have a steal yet on the season. He has been caught one time.
Tommy Lane last worked on Sunday against Kansas City. Stranded 2 inherited runners in the 7th inning. Got Eric Hosmer to ground out at the time. Crowd growing impatient with Tommy Lane. Sandoval in on the grass at third. Eaton with a swing and a miss, down 0-2.
See a swing like that on a breaking ball, you might want to try one more a little bit farther outside. See if he bites.
Heath Embry up in the Boston pen. Oh, 2 pitch. And he drops the bunt down, but foul, and he is out. So with 2 strikes, tried to bunt. That is strike 3, and it ends the 8th inning. Interesting. Robertson will be on, a 1-run lead for the White Sox. Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. 5-4, the White Sox have the lead over the Red Sox as we get ready for the 9th inning. And the White Sox bring in David Robertson into the game here, the right-hander, trying to nail down the save. His 46th appearance, 5-3 with a 2.81 earned run average. The former Yankee, 25 out of 31 in save opportunities in 48 innings, 66 strikeouts on the year, and he's held opponents under 200 at 196. And it'll be Travis Shaw to lead it off here for Boston, and Hanley Ramirez and Ryan Hannigan. Strike 1 to Shaw, who was 0 for 3 in the ball game tonight. 0-2.
Good breaking ball, good curveball there by Robinson. A little bit of a 12-6 breaking ball.
Yes, as he gets the outside corner for strike 3. Strikes out Shaw, who didn't think so. That's 4 strikeouts in a row now for White Sox pitching. 1 down.
And that's pretty nasty right there. A breaking ball to the outside part of the plate and just barely picking up the bottom of the strike zone. Almost an unhittable pitch, one you hope to just foul off if you do swing at it.
Robertson has converted 12 of his last 14 save chances and has the first out of the 9th inning. Here's Hanley Ramirez. He has struck out, grounded out, and struck out again. And a swing and a miss for strike 1. Well, for every home run the Red Sox hit the rest of the season, Alltown will donate $500 to the Cystic Fibrosis Multiple Sclerosis Fund. Alltown is New England's premier healthier convenience retailer. Ramirez dribbles it foul and finds himself down 1-2. And Hannigan waiting on deck. Red Sox batting here in the 9th inning. Righties are hitting .214 against Robertson this year. At home for the White Sox, he's got a 1.67 earned run average. And there's strike 3. Ramirez frozen. Back-to-back Ks for Robertson. 2 down. Let's take a look at the Toyota play of the game. And it was Trace Thompson back in the 7th inning. Thompson able to drive in 2. Runs 4 and 5 for the White Sox as they take the 5-4 lead. Big hit at the top.
Yeah, the ball got by Hanley Ramirez. 2 runs come in, and that is the difference in the ball game right now.
Ryan Hannigan with a broken bat, grounder foul outside of first.
See Robinson, he throws that cut fastball, and I'm sure that's something he picked up from Mariano Rivera from all those years and with the Yankees. There's a cut fastball away right off the end of the bat for Hannigan and just shattering the bat.
Saw Mariano Rivera do a lot of that.
Yeah, sure did. A lot of against right-handers and left-handers.
Two down here in the 9th inning. 5 strikeouts in a row for White Sox pitching. Combination of Zach Duke and David Robertson. The 0-1 to Hannigan. And a swing and a miss. 0-2.
Back to the curveball that time, and he's had a very good one here in the 9th inning.
Two outs in the 9th. 2 strikes on Hannigan. The 0-2 pitch in the dirt. Hannigan not chasing. Well, going outside with a 1-2 pitch. Hannigan and takes, and it didn't miss by a lot. 2-2.
That's a good take right there, because that's a tough pitch to take. A cut fastball again that looks like a strike, and that little cut at the end takes it off the plate.
Two down in the ninth inning. Two-two pitch. In the air to center field. Adam Eaton's out there waiting. He'll put it away, and the White Sox will take game 2 of the series. A one-run ball game tonight from Chicago, and a come-from-behind victory for Chicago. White Sox win it 5-4 as we send it to Tom Caron.